Okay, let's... Hi. So, it's my cat. You gonna go? Hi everyone. Welcome to a new episode of My Favorite Things. First things first, I'd like to thank all of my patrons that support me on Patreon. You are all awesome. I would like to give special thanks to Butch, to Josh, Michael Torres, Sean Laurencio, Tim Hawking, Tim Tucker, Tom, William Robinson, and a patron that would like to be known as Anonymous. So today on My Favorite Things, we are going to talk about that classic animated series, Sailor Moon. I was introduced to the original series. I was like in 8th grade. A friend of mine from Japan brought some episodes of this beautiful show called Sailor Moon. Now, I was already a huge anime fan at the time. I was fully aware that there was a show called Sailor Moon, did not know what it was, but I saw these episodes she brought from Japan, and I was just thoroughly enchanted. And this was the mid-90s, so it was not easy to get anything from Japan. But the first thing I got, Sailor Moon related, was the Sailor Moon R movie, which actually has become one of my favorite anime movies, period. I got it on cassette. I used to be in contact with a distributor who released fan subs, but you just pay for the cassette, and you pay for the cassette and for the time for them to put the subtitles in the anime. This was the 90s. Anime was not readily available. You had to really look for it. You had to hunt down for it. So I hunted down for Sailor Moon R, the movie, and I got it, and I don't regret it. You meet all the characters. You immediately get to know them. You get to know who they are. You get romance from all kinds of angles. You get beautiful songs and touching moments. I know I'd say that I cry in almost every movie, but it's not that I cry in almost every movie. It's just that if I cry in a movie, it means I like it. I cry every time I watch the ending of the Sailor Moon R movie. It's just so beautiful. I feel like the Sailor Moon R movie is perfect. After a while, Sailor Moon started airing on TV in a very watered down version. Names were changed and storylines were either deleted or changed, but the gist of it was there, and it made a lot of new fans for Sailor Moon, which helped the original uncut series to get released nowadays. You can get the original Sailor Moon at like any Best Buy, any Walmart. I think I've seen them at Target a few times. They're easy to get now than they were back then. Thank you, Viz Media. Well, let's get into the series. So we already talked about Sailor Moon R, the movie. Beautiful piece of work. The first season, or people like to call it Sailor Moon Classic, it's the first story arc. Very beautiful. See, I love these DVDs. They come with these books, so you don't get lost. Ooh, it has lyrics in it too. Sailor Moon, Usagi. She is ditzy. She's very typical of a schoolgirl. And I think part of her charm is that she just wants to be normal. She just wants to date, she just wants to shop, and she has this incredible power. Sailor Mercury, I love her because she has one thing I don't have, brains. I love how smart she is. I love the little gadgets she uses to save the day. And she's just the sweetest character. Sailor Mars, Rei Hino. In this version of Sailor Moon, she is very temperamental. She shows a lot of tough love to Sailor Moon, and I think that's what makes them best friends. Whether they like it or not, they're best friends. They love each other. Oh, Makoto, Sailor Jupiter. I like Makoto because she's tough, she knows how to cook, she wants to protect her friends. I love that she's physically strong. She don't need powers. She could kick your butt without powers. Sailor Venus, Minako. She wants to be a pop singer. Who can't relate to that? And she was the first one of the Guardians to awaken. She was the first one to be found, so I think she knows the most about being a sailor soldier. So the first story arc deals with Sailor Moon and her friends. They're discovering their powers, they're discovering their history, they're discovering where these powers come from, and it's I call it the awakening season. It's the hero's journey. You got these classic villains. Queen Beryl is a very classic villain. She has these lackeys, and they have problems of their own, and it's never and no one's ever truly just villainous. There's a very touching little story arc they do with Sailor Moon's best human friend, Naru, when she falls for one of Beryl's soldiers. Then we get into Sailor Moon R. Sailor Moon R. The R is for romance. And boy, is it romantic. The first few episodes of Sailor Moon R deal with a pair of villains called Al and Anne. Get it? Al and Alien? And they have this doom tree that gives them powers. And Sailor Moon and her friends have to defeat this doom tree. And not only that, but Al and Anne also have personas as students in their high school. So you have that layer right there. Their lives get intertwined with the aliens. It's a very beautiful story about what it means to be alien and what it means to be human. And how we're all alike. But the bigger part of Sailor Moon R is the visit of a character named Chibiusa. Chibiusa is this little girl that literally falls into the lives of Sailor Moon and her friends. I want to say she's a younger version of Sailor Moon, but I feel like she's smarter than Sailor Moon. She's sassier, definitely, than Sailor Moon. And she's pinker than Sailor Moon. She's from the future, but she's not just any little girl from the future. She's Sailor Moon's daughter from the future. And this is also the season where we meet Sailor Pluto, who is kick-ass. Setsuna, Sailor Pluto, I think she is the most mature. She's the classiest. She has this crazy scepter that lets her do this stuff.
Dead scream.
Woo! I love that. And I think Sailor Pluto is the only one of the girls who's not a reincarnation. See, everyone else is a reincarnation of their past selves. I think Sailor Pluto is the original. That's the original Pluto. Then we get to Sailor Moon S. S for Super. Is very well known because it is the season that introduces Sailor Neptune and Sailor Uranus. And Sailor Neptune and Uranus are a lesbian couple. They are a lesbian couple. And they are super adorable. Haruka, Sailor Uranus. She is tough and masculine. I love her. She is my idol. She's flirtatious. She's flirtatious, but she's also jealous. I think that's cute. And then we have her girlfriend. Then we have Sailor Neptune. Michiru is a sweet character, but do not mistake that for weakness. She is a few steps ahead of you no matter what. And I just love how devoted to each other Michiru and Haruka are. I think they're a very good representation of a lesbian couple in an animated series, and this is before Steven Universe. They're the girls that, along with Sailor Pluto, they're called the Outer Soldiers. So there's these three, and then there's our cast, and they're the ones who are supposed to protect them. And so they assume they know better than our main cast. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. This season is also where we meet Sailor Saturn. Hotaru, Sailor Saturn. Hotaru is very sweet. Hotaru is that girl you go to school with that dresses goth and has a heart of gold. And she becomes friends with Chibiusa. She also gets corrupted by the enemy. The day is saved by the love of our main character, Sailor Moon. At this point, one thing I'm noticing, she always thinks there's an alternative to winning a fight. She doesn't want to fight. She's a very non-violent person. and a lot of the time she doesn't want to fight you. She wants to heal you. I think that's a good message to learn. That there's always another way to win. It doesn't have to be violent. You don't have to have enormous superpowers. If anything, her superpower is her heart. The next season is my favorite season, Sailor Moon Super S. One of the main characters is a unicorn. Our villains for the first few episodes are called the Amazon Trio, and one of them is this adorable male character named Fish Eye. I love Fish Eye. He is beautiful. He doesn't care what you think of him. He likes to wear dresses, and he's pretty in dresses. So aside from the Amazon Trio, they also introduced the Amazonas Quartet. And I remember in the books, the Amazonas Quartet, they weren't just villains. They're also supposed to be Sailor Chibi Moon soldiers when they all grow up. It's a pretty solid season. It's probably the only season that I've rewatched so many times. So at the end, Sailor Moon saves the day, and not only does she save the day, she saves the day with the help of this beautiful unicorn. Now, we get to the last season. This is Sailor Stars. Sailor Stars was originally released in Japan, I think in the late 90s. Was it the late 90s? Maybe it says so here. Let me see. When was this released? Oh, it does say! Yes! Sailor Stars was released in 1996 and has not seen an American release until now. And I finally got it. So, it took a while. Girl! It took from 1994 to 2020 for me to finish the entire Sailor Moon series. And I gotta say, I loved Sailor Stars. Everyone's in it. You have these 3 new characters who only add to the fun. It's really tricky to introduce new characters, especially to a last season. They add to the story and they don't take away. And you have this cute little character named Chibi Chibi, who's very mysterious. You got this boy band who are also female sailor warriors. Sailor Moon has this new armor. And you have a villain who is their kind. The villain is a sailor soldier, and Sailor Moon has to fight her. It takes everything in her, it takes everything that she's got to defeat this villain. And I'm finally at the end of this show, and I absolutely loved this show. It was well worth the wait to wait all those years to finish it. I can't wait to watch it all over again. I think what keeps me watching this show is the heart of it all. I also like that each sailor is very different. There's always somebody to relate with, no matter who you are. My favorite character growing up was Sailor Mercury, and she even has a little mini movie they made for her. But as I got older and I watched the series, actually, now my favorite character is Sailor Uranus. And I also learned that Sailor Uranus, like me, is an Aquarius, so I love that. Thank you for joining me on this fun, crazy journey through Sailor Moon, all 200 episodes. Special thanks to my patrons. Without you, I couldn't do this. If you'd like to be a patron, just email me right here, and I will get that information for you. Please don't forget to subscribe, and like, and comment, and share this link to your friends. And be sure to join us next time for another fun episode of My Favorite Things. Bye! See you later.